listen, today before we get started, I want to share with you or talk to you first about what it looks like when you do not feel like pressing on. When the atmosphere around you is full of so many various things and you just are trying to figure out life. When you have defeat or depression that is all around you in the atmosphere and your heart is heavy. When life is not going the way you desire for it to go, or the things that you've been praying about, you're asking God to do, you don't see them being fulfilled, and you're still having to press through something. The first thing we're going to talk about today is what exaltation looks like. Now, I just shared with you all the things of darkness that are in the atmosphere at that very moment and how it feels and how the rage is going on in the air. But exaltation is setting the atmosphere, meaning that you are declaring something into the atmosphere that may not feel present at the moment, okay? At this moment, I want to invite Ms. Patria up, but we're going to talk about exaltation and how it shifts the atmosphere. Are you guys ready for this? Come on, shout to the Lord. Listen, we're going to be talking, but we're also going to exhibit or demonstrate what it looks like, and we're going to be shifting in the spirit several times a day, and God is going to be glorified. Amen?
Amen.
When we talk about exaltation, I just shared with them how darkness can be all around you. And when you begin to declare out of your mouth what and who God is in that very moment, can you just talk about how that shift empowers you?
In my life, when I exhort God, I begin to see things move. A lot of times when we go up in exhortation, we can almost see the very hand of God actually move that thing out the way. So for me, exhortation is not only just loving on God and believing and standing on his promises. Even his word got so many promises that we can stand on and that we can just declare out in the open, speak that thing out in the atmosphere, and we can sit there and watch God really move and bring that thing to pass.
Listen, she talked about bringing that thing to pass, and my mind instantly went to several times when sickness was in my body. And I would begin to declare out in the atmosphere. The doctors were giving the various reports at that moment. And I would begin to either sing worship or say, he's a healer. He's a healer. God has healed me. Your healing hand is upon me. And I began to declare that and made that greater than what was trying to become great in the room. And exaltation is that very thing, meaning that we are declaring and making something great when circumstances are trying to overshadow who he is. We have to make it even greater in the room. Can you talk about an experience that you may have had that you had to exalt God out of and bring, that he can bring to fruition what you've been declaring?
One of the greatest things is my marriage going through, but I noticed when I began to exhort God, if me and him having a heated argument, if I exhort God and begin to glorify God and speak what God says, then I begin to see the enemy got to move. Yes. When I have sickness in my body, when I begin to, a lot of times I don't like take medicine. So a lot of times if I'm having a headache or something, I begin to exhort God and I give God word. God, your word says that I'm healed. I lay hand on myself because your word say lay hand on the sick and they shall be healed. So I lay hand on my head and that headache go away. So I just begin to give God word back to him and I see him move in such a mighty way. So whatever it is we may be going through, we give God word back to him because he's not a liar. If he spoke it, he gonna bring it to pass. And so when we begin to exhort his name, you can begin to see miracles happen because he said miracles shall follow those. We shall see miracles, signs and wonder. But what are we doing to see those miracles, signs and wonder? Exhort him, glorify him, and edify him and watch God move whatever it is we may be going through.
Yes. That is one of the most important parts of a worship service is exaltation, when you are lifting him up. And I encourage each and every person, when you hear a believer shouting in the atmosphere who God is, making declaration into the atmosphere. See, on Sundays, you have so many different spirits that enter into the house of God. They have come to be free. And so many people are bound by depression, oppression. But when we begin to declare who God is, that he's a chain breaker, that he's a lift of the burden, we begin to declare those things in the atmosphere, you'll see it start to fall off people in the congregation. That's why exaltation is one of the most important parts of the service. I was sharing with one of the Minister Patria earlier in the back about how did not know who you were and I always have a wall up. But when God allowed me to sit and so to watch you war in the spirit, he said, one of mine, and my wall came down. I just wanted to just thank God for his way of connecting people and putting people on your path. And sometimes he had to do it through a storm. And COVID was a storm that led us to each other. And when we begin to talk about prayer and spiritual warfare, I said, whoop, I got somebody for that one. A warrior in the spirit. She prayed down heaven. I shared with Miss Patria in a joking way. I said, baby, she went behind the veil, rolled behind them, grabbed some stuff, came out, knocked the devil down, flew back in there. I said, she knows how to access heaven through prayer. And through your prayer and warring in the spirit, God he can do so many powerful things. There's so much warfare that comes through just a call in your life, just because of the seal that's on your life and who you are and what you've been called to do. So much warfare will come. This week has been a strange week for me. I said, Pastor Jeff, I almost feel like I got to preach. I don't said whatever this is, it's almost like a preaching war that's coming at me. And I said, I don't know what God gonna do, but it's gonna be something solely out of the box. And I just want to appreciate the Lord for his out of the box move right now, y'all.
Thank you, Jesus. We honor you.
In warfare, many people don't understand what it takes or how to come out. Many people have been in war too long. They really don't know how to fight. Many people just lay down in it. They lay down and they allow the fight and the war to overtake their minds, to overtake their life, to overtake their homes. And they don't take back that territory that the enemy is trying to gain. I've so many times, my war is not that everybody's warfare don't look the same. When I'm at war in the spirit, you'll know it because I'm quiet. I don't have too much to say. There's an inner cry. My thoughts and my meditation to the Lord is just totally inner. And every now and then when I get ready to go, like a scream will come up from the belly because I've been warring on the inside and pulling down strongholds from the mind, from the inside. And I know what I feel trying to come against my flesh, and I know what I feel in the spirit, and I begin to war on the inside. But everybody's warfare does not look the same. But you have to appreciate when somebody knows how to war in the spirit. I was thinking today how we'll many times ask people to pray for me. Pray for me. But we don't even know what that entails. You're asking somebody to go into your territory and to deal with your stuff. Come over to my house and clean up. That's what you're asking somebody to do for you in the spirit. You're asking them to take on where my feet standing at for a moment and to fight for me. And when somebody prays for you, we don't owe them nothing, but we owe them everything. Because that job in itself is a lot, y'all. And so many people are experiencing warfare because they pray for others. They have such a heart for others. And I just want you to talk about what warfare looks like in the spirit. Some of the things that people may be experiencing right now, the troubles that may be on their path, that is causing them due to the fact of who they have been called to be. What does warfare look like?
What warfare looks like, and we was having this conversation coming down the road. I was sharing with my husband, and I was sharing with a woman of God that rode with us. I was talking to them about the warfare that I contended with when I didn't even know I was contending with warfare.
Come on now.
I didn't even realize or understand that there are real witches and warlocks that are praying against men and women of God and even unbelievers, that this is real. Mm-hmm. It is real. And before I could even understand, I just knew that I went through so much as a child. so much as a child. But what led me to be a warring intercessor was because when I was 18, 17, somewhere along in there, I almost lost my mind. That was my first suicide attempt. That was my first suicide attempt, not even realizing who I was. At that time, I didn't think I was anybody. You know, I entertained the thoughts of the enemy when he would say that I had no purpose. Nobody cares about you. You're nothing. You're worthless. Nobody loves you. Look at your life. You're a failure. All of those things, all of those lies. And so that was the first suicide attempt. But what was so powerful about spiritual warfare to me now is it looks ugly with what you're contending with if you really see into the spiritual realm of what's coming against you. And if you see and recognize principalities that other people don't see. But what stood out to me, Apostle, is that God had assigned some intercessors to me. And it broke the spirit of suicide off of me. I know how bad that spirit was because I lived through it. I know how depressed I really was because I lived it. I encountered my first witch when I was 15. It's my story. It's my life. I lived through it. And so now that God has taught me this thing, I don't mind staying up all night because somebody stayed up all night for me. And the spirit of suicide, it had to break. So I don't play spiritual patty cake when it comes to demons and devils and principalities. I don't mind staying up all night if it takes all night for God to say, I need you on your face. I need you to push back that food. I need you to push back every meal. Whatever it takes, that's what it takes, because that's what it took for me. And whenever I get a microphone, whenever I'm able to talk about the goodness of Jesus, I do it like it's my last time. When he tells me, tell them about me. Don't point people to you. Point them to me. I broke the spirit of suicide off of you. And so I'm forever grateful. That's why I can contend. That's why I can pray. If he tells me to fast, I can do it because somebody did it for me.